Memphis Success, episode 32 with Anthony Norris of Worldwide Packaging.
And he asked a question that I couldn't answer.
Okay.
And it was, we're Procter & Gamble. We have the world's best suppliers
Right.
that supply us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we want to do business with you? And really couldn't answer that question. But what it did, and it really was, I consider it advice, because what it challenged me with is you really have to know your value proposition, your competitive advantage.
Right.
And as a startup, why did you decide to go into business?
Want to be successful in business? Listen to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs. Be prepared to be challenged and inspired to dream big and take immediate action now.
Memphis Go-Getters, welcome to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs. I am your host, Darnell Reed, and I interview local entrepreneurs right here in the Mid-South to share their story to inspire you to chase your dreams. Today, I am so thrilled to have Mr. Anthony Norris on the show. He is the president of Worldwide Label and Packaging, a manufacturer of specialty label and packaging products. As the co-founder of Worldwide, he spearheaded the company's business development efforts in development and implementation of its ISO certification, as well as their CGMP compliant quality management system. Now, Worldwide serves the personal care, healthcare, and agrochemical market segments. And hey, they have some well-known customers such as Procter & Gamble, GlaxoSmithKline, and Tufco Technologies. Mr. Norris earned his degree in political science from North Carolina Central University, as well as his Juris Doctorate degree from the University of North Carolina School of Law. He serves as the Arkansas NBEIC Chair of the Southern Region Minority Supplier Development Council. He is also a co-founder of Splash Mid-South, a nonprofit community coalition organized to promote water safety. And we're going to talk a lot more about that, as well as he serves on several boards, such as the Benjamin L. Hooks Institute for Social Change, the YMCA of the Memphis and the Mid-South, and the Emmanuel Center. Mr. Norris, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and just real honored to be part of today's program.
Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on the show. I know you told me you're from North Carolina, but you've been in Memphis for a while. And so I always like to ask our guests this. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you just think about Memphis and entrepreneurship?
First and foremost, history and potential. So history, some of the greatest world-changing entrepreneurs come from here in Memphis, and then also from the civil rights. And as far as race relations, Memphis is historical, but then potential. I feel that we're on the verge of becoming the great city that we've been destined to be. Yeah,
I definitely agree. We definitely have tons of history here, just from the civil rights movement time frame, from music. And I mean, we have so many budding entrepreneurs. I think we're a hotbed for entrepreneurship here. So look, I gave a brief introduction about you. I mean, you have a tremendous background and so forth. But when you're out networking and you're meeting people, how do you normally explain what you do?
Well, first and foremost, I consider myself, I create and develop businesses and people. And so the packaging industry is, we're a manufacturer, but me as a person, I really develop businesses, and packaging manufacturing is really our first foray into entrepreneurship.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into more of that packaging, because, you know, just looking at your background, and I know prior to starting your business, you were working in the law area, and a lot of times people don't think about lawyers in business, but they think about the suing part of it. So if we can, I always just call this the origin and the beginning. So if you can, just tell me why you just really stepped out there and decided to take that leap of faith and become an entrepreneur, and then especially why in the manufacturing and packaging area.
Sure. First of all, I was one of the first members of my family to go to college.
Okay.
And then going to college and then going on to law school was really to learn business.
Oh.
because that was something that I was very much interested in is entrepreneurship. But then really, how do you go into business if you don't have a background or really understanding how business works? And so I said, lawyers create businesses
Okay.
from a organizational standpoint.
Right.
And so that was really what planted the seed. And then the transition, it was really 1997. A couple of things were going on in my life that really led me to take that leap of faith, as you described. First of all, I just left the law firm, and I was a sports agent.
Oh, wow.
And
So
then
you got to give us a little more about that, because I'm a huge sports fan. So I mean, I've watched several shows. It's a new one out with Rock Johnson.
Ballers, I think.
Yeah, Ballers. And so that's why I envision as a sports agent. Do you mind just talk a little bit about how that was to be a sports agent?
Yeah, I can think back to just my professional career pre-entrepreneurship. There were two movies that were based out of here in Memphis that really kind of paralleled my life experiences. The first one was The Firm.
Right.
Working for a big law firm. I worked at Baker Donaldson, Bierman and Caldwell. And then the other one was Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
Sports agent with a conscience. That was me. But yeah, I was really blessed when I came and started with the law firm. I was a first year associate and had the freedom within the firm to really develop areas of practice of interest. And I had a cousin that was lightning fast, that played football at Kansas State and was drafted in the third round of the NFL and went on to play in the Super Bowl with the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so
cool.
opportunity also, is really what paves the way. And so that was what really opened the door to get involved in sports management. Then also worked with the one of the largest, most successful firms in the area, which was Athletic Resource Management, that represented Scottie Pippen, Reggie White, Isaac Bruce, and so forth. So so that was what I was doing right before I took the plunge into entrepreneurship.
So how do you leave that? Because I guess at least the perception, I don't know if it's reality, but like, hey, that's fast paced. That's hanging with celebrities to say, now look, I want to leave that and now I'm finna pursue my thing. Yeah,
it really goes back to your purpose. And so when I really went to law school, it was really to go into business.
Right.
And so sports management was a bridge to that area. And it was, a really fast, demanding lifestyle as a single young man, which was very rewarding and fulfilling to a certain extent. But I knew that I was destined to do more and something that I would consider substantive in terms of really creating and developing businesses.
Oh, wow.
And so at the time, I had just accepted Christ in 1997. And then I had gotten custody of 5 of my nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
Ranging from ages 10 months old to 10 years old. And so that was really a drastic lifestyle change
right.
and really helped direct me towards what I ultimately ended up doing, is going into business as a full-time vocation.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, I just had my newborn, and it's already a workload in itself. So I can only imagine being, I guess, single at the time and then taking custody and definitely having to, I guess, be more focused on what you really want to pursue in life. So if you can just tell me specifically, I guess, why the manufacturing, and was that, was that your first business, or, and then why did you even pursue doing this?
Yeah, great question. So when I went to law school and then came to work for the law firm, it was really to learn business in general, because you really don't necessarily, unless you have a specific skill, technology, or interest in a certain industry and area.
Right.
It's really a blank slate in terms of where do you go. And so opportunity presents itself. So I had a client that sold business forms to Federal Express. Okay. And then as he was looking to diversify and expand his business, we did a little research and identified manufacturing, and then a closely related field and industry was labels and packaging. And so that was really what the opportunity opened the door for inspiration for this particular area. And so developed a business plan, partnered with economic development folks in Arkansas to create the business that is grown to be Worldwide Label and Packaging.
Okay, well, awesome. That's an amazing story. And I guess just doing a little research, you have a warehouse facility, I guess, in the Arkansas location. And so with the packaging, do you have the machinery that creates the labels and you kind of handle all of that for a lot of these major companies such as Procter and Gamble?
Yes, it's definitely equipment intensive, from label presses, which are printing machines that also does converting, die cutting, and so forth. Our signature product is something that you probably use quite a bit of, is for Pampers sensitive baby wipes packaging.
Man, I got plenty of those.
the resealable, the best wipes on the store shelves. But yes, we produce
that's
that.
you guys.
That is us.
Wow. So the actual the package so you guys do the whole packaging of it.
The pouch with the label that you peel back to pull the wipes out of. We actually produce the label, and then we actually
the label that pulls off.
Yes, and we apply that label to the film.
So
as well.
I promise you, I got boxes full of Pampers at the house, and so yeah, my wife always talks about I didn't put the label back on it, and now the wipes have dried up.
You know it. Yes, that's exactly.
So that's you guys.
That's us. The resealable label. That's our signature product.
That's amazing. There. That's so great. So I guess I can only imagine with the manufacturing, and I guess that's very capital intensive to invest. I guess getting into that equipment. So I guess going into that, you already kind of knew that and was willing to go ahead and make that purchase.
Yes, that was part of it. That's really the barrier. Is the barrier of entry.
Oh yeah.
Quite often, most entrepreneurs are in the service industry because of the lack of capital, and that's part of the challenges for people that aren't necessarily coming from wealth, but through partnerships as well as programs, small business administration, opportunities, economic development organizations within the municipalities and states create opportunity to invest and leverage your initial investment to acquire the equipment to be able to produce the product. But ultimately, you have to have customers to sell the products to. So it's that combination.
And I guess when you were just looking at the opportunities, because when you think about just manufacturing now, and I guess let me just ask you with the political climate that we're in right now, and I guess with this new president trying to make sure we have more manufacturing, I guess here, were you ever concerned previously with competing manufacturers outside of the United States?
It's a competitive marketplace, period. And so whatever industry sector that you're in, you really all have to keep total focus on changes in the economic climate, whether it be a recession, whether it be new technology, whether it be outsourcing, insourcing, and so forth. So you really have to keep your finger on the pulse and be prepared to adapt no matter what the market conditions or political climate is. And so with every challenge, on the other side of it is an opportunity.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, that is definitely great. Thank you for sharing just the background and how you were able to evolve into this field. So I call this, a lot of times people think about entrepreneurship and it just being so rosy of a thing. And I know I've had some challenges in my business and definitely have learned from it. So if you can you just share a story, just one of the challenges and just lessons learned that you were able to overcome those issues?
Sure. Probably one of the bigger challenges was the recession. And so what you have when you do work with is a startup manufacturer with concentration in a very small number of customers, and then something, whether it be economic or market conditions change. And so there was a period that our leading customer changed the technology, and so the product that we produced went away.
Oh, wow.
So that was the lifeblood of the business. And the lesson learned from that, how we overcame it, is fast track to diversification.
Okay.
Had to, first of all, pursue different new customers and then leverage the core technology that we had. And so that was what led us into our second line of business, which is extended content labels that we supply for leading healthcare supplier companies with drug facts information. And so what was the lesson that we learned was you really have to diversify and then be ahead of the curve of when market conditions or economic conditions change that can really threaten your business. And then also the value of strategic planning so that you go through that SWOT analysis and you can really anticipate where you need to go before it's too late.
Wow. I mean, that's very critical. I just remember in school, they always talk about trying not to have one customer represent a large portion of your business. And so I guess that's one takeaway from me. And then I guess secondly, just having that customers change their technology. So I guess trying to, stay abreast of what they're doing.
Absolutely.
and making sure that you have the product and solution to support it. But then obviously, like you were saying, to diversify and go into different industries and leverage your existing technology. So, I mean, that's definitely a major key takeaway. So Memphis Go-Getters, hopefully you have heeded that message and definitely have jotted that note down of something that you definitely need to heed in your business. So if you can, I call this our big shift moment in our business. So can you just take us to a moment in time when you had experienced or learned something new that just really helped shift your business and take it to another level?
Yes. A couple of years back was introduced to the principles of performance management and then also the importance of leadership development.
Okay.
And performance management really was a game changer in that you really begin to manage the business by the numbers and setting goals throughout every aspect of the business and then measuring the performance against the goals throughout the organization, whether that be production, quality, preventive maintenance, safety, et cetera. So introducing that across the board was a major shift in leading to helping take the business to the next level. And then the leadership development. So often when you think of manufacturing, you often think of, as we talked about, the capital, the equipment.
Right.
That's one aspect of it. The people, though, are really the lifeblood of the business. And so investing in developing that human capital was really significant, especially when you introduce tools such as performance management, Lean Six Sigma, et cetera. It really does position you to be even stronger as an organization and more nimble.
Can you give me an example of, I guess, something that you were able to do to just continue to train and educate your team?
Yeah, it was when we introduced performance management, it was in conjunction with leadership. Okay. And so we took the team members. I went through an exercise where we brought in some more experienced managers that had many years of experience, but they were not local to the business. And while they brought in terms of experience, it really bridged the gap to help us develop the team members on the floor. And I can give you really one example that tells you the power of performance management and leadership development. A young lady that started out on the ground floor of the business maybe 6 or 7 years ago as a minimum wage machine operator. Always was the best at what she did, but throughout her life had only been given the opportunity to work those kind of entry level jobs. Through the performance management and then leadership development, first of all, started recognizing her performance through the numbers. Then that introduced her to the leadership development program. And again, the performance, as we met weekly with each of the team members, and they had reports that they had to give, and then also one-on-one instruction and training with a hired consultant, a business management consultant that worked with them weekly. Fast forward a year and a half after going through that program, that same young lady is now the plant manager.
Wow, the plant manager.
Yes.
Wow.
And is doing a great job.
So you got somebody just that untapped potential, and then adding in this performance and this leadership, and now she's the plant manager.
Yeah, absolutely. She embraced the process, and then it really, by having measurables and tracking the company's performance and then the departments and the individuals within the company, it really helps you identify the high performers as well as the high potential team members.
Oh, wow. I know there's a saying that you can't manage what you can't measure or something like to that point. And I mean, I think that's great. I think especially when you start having true goals and you truly start to measure, I truly believe people, I guess, they align to what the expectations are. And then if you start tracking it, then people will start performing, and start trying to reach that goal. So, I mean, that's an awesome example right there, and definitely a takeaway for me that we just need to continue to measure and to monitor, and then also to continue to build our team members, our employees and my staff, just to continue to train them. I think there's a quote, and I'm going to probably mess it up, but there's a quote that's saying, to the point of training your team members, I mean, the value of training them and being able to retain them versus not training them and then they stay and the service is just, not performing to the level that they need to be at. So, but hey, thank you for that advice and sharing that lesson with the audience here. So, with that being said, I know you have a lot going on today in your business, but what is that one thing that you're just most excited about in your business today?
Growth, obviously, that's part of the strategic growth plan and really being a major contributor to the local economy. And so when I think about what does that mean to the business, it means working with new customers. So you're always obviously pursuing new business opportunities. And so to do that, we're developing our first full service sales team.
Okay.
So it's kind of, we've spent the last year or so working on preparing the infrastructure of the business to be able to support an aggressive growth strategy. Now it's the next phase of it. So you introduce the performance management to the sales management process. And so we're identifying new technologies that we're developing, growing with existing customers, but we also have several new customers that I think will kind of exponentially grow the business. So
let me ask you this, because I know there may be business owners, and I was faced with this challenge myself. At what point in time, I guess as the owner and CEO, you're the first salesperson going out there trying to make it happen, closing deals. But at what point in time did you realize to say, hey, I may need to get a salesperson on my team and have them really focus on that where I can focus on other things in my business?
Yeah, it really flowed out of the strategic growth plan, because then you really have to put pen to pencil.
Right.
How can you do more than you've done in the past? And how much capacity do you have as a salesperson, but also being charged with responsibility of managing the business as a whole? And then you see that there is a need for, first of all, team members with that specialization, training, experience, proven success, and that discipline. So recognize several years back that having that sales team beyond myself was going to be critical to the business. But then it has to be that right mix and the right time, and then the business has to be ready for it.
Right.
So the last thing you want to do is have a frustrated salesperson, meaning that they're out pursuing business that you're not necessarily in a position to support it. Wow. And then the other side, the big lesson I learned is that if there's one member of the team that has to pay for themselves almost by their job description, it's the salesperson.
Right.
So you really can get ahead of yourself in terms of paying for sales. It really should be, sales should be paying for itself and actually contributing to the bottom line of the business. So you really have to make sure that you have the right package where the sales team is incentivized and you're tracking, monitoring their performance. Or otherwise, you'll find yourself spending more in the sales effort than you're bringing in with the sales itself.
Well, yeah, I think that's definitely an awesome takeaway, that your salesperson should pretty much be paying for himself. Absolutely. And one other thing that you definitely hit on is a lot of times you need to make sure that your back end, meaning your operation, your support, can handle when the sales guy goes out there and he starts bringing in the business. you need to be able to handle it, right? Or he's going to get to a point like, well, I'm bringing this business, but the business can't even support it, and it has me looking bad.
Absolutely, yes. It's the total. Everything is interrelated.
Right. So, hey, thank you for that. So, I know we talked about the growth plan in Memphis Go Getters. You may hear him talking about that, but he's also an alumni of the Emerging Leaders, the same program that I had been involved with. And as part of that program, we had to create a growth plan and really in detail lay it out. And so I just encourage you, hey, you don't have to go through a program, but just go ahead and start to write down, your 3 to 5 year plan and lay out where you want to go. But more importantly, what are the actions, tactical actions and steps you're going to take to go ahead and get there? If you want that $1 million business, you really need to put pen to paper, as Mr. Norris stated, to really figure it out and see how you're going to do it. You just can't talk about it. So with that being said, people try to lay out the 3 to 5 year plan. What do you see as the long-term vision for your business?
Yes. First, on a micro level, is really to double the business sales over and profitability over the next 3 to 5 years. But from a vision standpoint, it's really becoming a leading driver of the local economy through developing the untapped potential, meaning human capital in our area, to help us become a strategic leading partner for some of the top companies in the world that are based here in our local and regional marketplace. So that's the vision of the business, to really be a leading employer, whereas that will impact our community and economy, but it will also make us more competitive to deliver solutions and really leveraging technology to do that. So we kind of have the manufacturing foundation. We're developing the people. Now the next phase is really technology development and applying those tools to the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think definitely in Memphis, obviously, I think when you talk about crime, I think a lot of it does go back to the economics and opportunities. And so if more people, had job opportunities that were paying well, obviously they'll be too tired to commit crime. But also I look at it as, from a business owner and me employing people as well, is that, through our businesses, we are, providing for their family. And, with them working, they're providing for their family, which is impacting, say, that child in that household and so forth. And so, I definitely commend you and encourage you to continue to expand and continue to grow, so you can provide more job opportunities here in the Mid-South. So that's awesome to hear. So let's go ahead and shift gears. I call this our lightning round of questions. And so the first question is this, and I normally just ask this: was there really anything holding you back from becoming an entrepreneur?
I guess the only thing that really was, barriers that I had to cross was, one, really learning and understanding business, because I knew it when I was in college that really wanted to be an entrepreneur. But how do you do that if you don't have that role model or someone that's kind of taking you under their wing? So that was the first barrier. Then the second one was, what's the opportunity? Once you decide to, what business do you go into? And those were the two things that I would say that I had to go through to figure those out. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what is the best advice you have ever received?
The best advice really was a question.
Okay.
We were a startup and we were going to have a meeting with our, now what just turned out to be our leading customer, that relationship that we've had for pretty much about as long as we've been in business. So almost 15 years now. And the head of their supplier diversity organization, it was just a meet and greet, tell us about who you are, learn about the company type of meeting.
Right.
And he asked a question that I couldn't answer.
Okay.
And it was, we're Procter & Gamble. We have the world's best suppliers that supply us right now. Why would we want to do business with you? And really couldn't answer that question. But what it did, and it really was, I consider it advice, because what it challenged me with is you really have to know your value proposition, your competitive advantage.
Right.
And as a startup, why did you decide to go into business? And so then, really obviously had to learn and figure out what is it that's going to make a startup better than long established,
right,
much larger competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, you focus on your nimbleness, flexibility, but also your customer focus, determination to provide solutions. But that was really, the best advice that I received at the very early ages of forming our business.
Wow. So why you? We can have anybody in the world. Well, why you? Wow. That's definitely a great question that we all should be thinking through and making sure we have that together when a customer does ask why your business versus someone else. So thank you for that, reminding us of that question. So what do you read, watch, or listen to that keeps you inspired and motivated?
Oh, the Word, the Bible.
All right. Well, yes, the Bible is good.
Absolutely. Can't go wrong.
Well, awesome. Now, is there a book you would recommend to our listeners?
Yes. Doing Business by the Book.
Doing Business by the Book.
Yeah, it just really keeps you rooted on, the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So business is by nature highly competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It can be dog eat dog, but you really have to think about how you treat people, fairness,
Right.
Respect, and those things that will really carry you on, where you're not necessarily burning bridges, you're building relationships.
Okay. So once again, it's called Doing Business by the Book.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is that a Christian-based business book?
It is business principles based on spiritual principles.
Okay, awesome,
Absolutely.
awesome. So Memphis Go-Getters, if you visit Memphis Success and search for Anthony Norris in the show notes, I will have a link to this book that he recommended. I'm definitely going to check it out. Obviously, I bet it's an amazing book to tie in business perspectives as well as biblical perspectives with that. So awesome. Now, is there a favorite success quote that you have that you kind of lean on?
Yes, I would say your attitude determines your altitude.
Your attitude determines your altitude. I love it. So let me ask you this: why?
It's your mindset that, the glass is either half full or half empty.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to be faced with challenges and you're going to have disappointments in life, but how you face those, and your attitude really will determine how successful you are. First of all, you have to believe in your purpose, believe in your ability, believe in your team, and then have I consider what I would call a healthy, attitude that you can defeat yourself before you wake up, before you walk through the door, or, it's just really how you engage, how you approach situations, and most importantly, how you overcome challenges. If you have a good attitude, it'll make a tremendous difference in your overall being and success.
Okay, awesome. So I just wanted to shift gears to a question that I had. So Memphis Go-Getters, if you're listening to this episode today, we're actually at the University of Memphis recreational facility, and we're over here near the pool area. And when talking with Mr. Norris, as I stated in the introduction, he is the co-founder of the Splash Mid-South. And once again, that's a nonprofit focused on promoting water safety and provide affordable swim instructions to minority youth. And, I was just sharing with him, when I was younger, I almost drowned. And I jumped in the pool, over a friend's house, thinking since he could do it, that I could do it. And I almost drowned. And luckily his mother came out and saved me. And so when I briefly just did a little research about the Splash Mid-South, I was very intrigued. I was not aware of a program like this. And so I wanted Mr. Norris, if you can just give a little background about, why you started it, and just give us an update on what's going on with the program.
Great. Yeah, this is truly a passion and that really has changed, my trajectory in terms of involvement in the community. Several years back, 2 teenagers drowned on the same day in local pools here in the community. And it really was a call to action led by Safe Kids of the Mid-South at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, in which became a coalition of community organizations and the power of really working collaboratively together. It's with the YMCA of Memphis and the Mid-South, the City of Memphis, the Memphis Tiger Swim Club, the University of Memphis, Benjamin L. Hooks for Social Change, and other organizations, American Red Cross, all came together and says we have to make a difference and a change to prevent children from being at greater risk for drowning. And there was a research study that was done by 2 professors, Dr. Carol and Dick Irwin at the University of Memphis, commissioned by USA Swimming, that brought to the nation's attention the disparity between minority children, their ability to swim, which left them at a greater risk of drowning.
Right.
And so my children happened to be competitive swimmers at the time. And so if not me, then who? And so really got an opportunity to be involved at the leadership level of what has really been one of the highlights of my life.
Wow.
And seeing the impact of children going from afraid of the water to now swimming on competitive teams, high school swimmers, is just so rewarding. And so my message to families that were like me, that are like our family, that really didn't know much about swimming growing up, is that swimming is really like a life skill, not just another activity.
Right.
Like, we play the sports, but treat swimming as different. Treat it more like education, because what they get during those formative years will last a lifetime and also have a generational impact, because their children will swim and then their children in return will swim. And it really, it changes lives, families, as well as a community. So when I fast forward, when we first joined competitive swimming, my daughter was a 6-year-old. There were a handful of African-American swimmers on the competitive teams. Now you go to any swim meet in the area and you'll see many swimmers from all backgrounds. And it really is, says a lot about Memphis. When we travel, we've been to Seattle for swim meets, Florida. We go every Memorial Day to the National Black Heritage Championship swim meet.
Oh, wow.
And we take swimmers from all background, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, to compete, representing Memphis. But whenever we go to a swim meet, whether it be in the area or at the national level, the first thing they notice about Memphis is our diversity. Okay. And it's a direct correlation to the great work that Splash Mid-South has doing at the grassroots level.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely always heartbreaking to hear, about a child passing away, drowning. And, but yeah, this is tremendous and great. How can more people learn more about this program if they want to get their children involved and learn how to swim?
Yeah, you can go to the splashmidsouth.org website, or any of the YMCA's or the City of Memphis pools, and we're working on some really great innovative programming with the University of Memphis as well. So you'll be hearing a lot about it on the airwaves in the coming months.
And I would just say, just from an African-American standpoint, with the recent Olympics, I can't recall the young lady's name, but the African young lady, she just won that medal. I think she won a gold medal as well as a bronze medal. And then I guess previous years, Cullen Jones was in the Olympics. And so I just think, at least from an African-American standpoint, we'll probably see more young kids getting more involved, learning to swim, but then also wanted to get into that competitive swimming aspects. And I think one other point that we talked about was not realizing scholarship opportunities that can come out of swimming as another option of things to consider. So that is awesome. So, Mr. Norris, I always like to kind of wrap up our show with this one question that I always want to ask people. What does Memphis success mean to you?
Memphis success means achieving our collective goals and achieving our collective potential to reach our collective destiny.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. Are there any last words of advice? And how can people just find out more about your company, the Worldwide Packaging and Label Company?
I guess word of advice is, believe. There are many challenges, things change, but really have that unshakable belief in why you do what you do, and trust and work with each other.
Okay.
A united community, a united company can accomplish anything. And you can learn more about Worldwide at our website at worldwidebg.com.
Hey, awesome. Memphis Go-Getters, this was an awesome interview with Mr. Norris. He dropped and shared tremendous wisdom and nuggets that I know that you can definitely take and apply it to your business. Once again, visit memphissuccess.com, search for Anthony Norris, and we'll have the show notes to some of the resources that he suggested, such as the book he suggested, as well as the Splash Mid-South. Also, sign up, become a Memphis Go-Getter. Sign up and get all the latest videos, reports and updates and free information and that we share. So Memphis Go-Getters, you know what to do. Dream big, take action, and make money.
Thank you for listening to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs. Sign up now at memphissuccess.com to become a Memphis Go-Getter and receive all the latest information and free gifts. Because your success is Memphis Success.